Hi, my name is Michelle Reardon. I came here to Neomed from Boston, Massachusetts. I've had Lyme disease and Bartonella now for close to 15 years. I did not start treating for my Lyme or Bart until about 4 years ago. I started off with antibiotics. I did 2 years of oral antibiotics and progressively continued to decline. I switched and got a PICC line and ended up with IV antibiotics that I took for close to 11 months. With the IV antibiotics, I felt much better. A lot of the symptoms that I had really significantly gotten better. I would say my worst symptoms: brain fog, memory loss, neck pain, low back pain. Both of my hips, I had excruciating pain in. My knees, the pain was awful as well. And swelling. I had a lot of inflammation. On any given day, I couldn't open a bottle or a can. I couldn't turn a doorknob. I couldn't change the sheets on the bed because I didn't have the strength to lift the mattress. And by December of last year, it was to the point where I was so weak in my lower extremities that I couldn't get up from a sitting position, whether I was on a couch or a chair or on a toilet. I had to be lifted off because I didn't have the strength in my legs to get myself up. I couldn't climb up and down stairs. I would do one at a time and drag my back along the wall and hold onto the wall as I went down. And the fatigue was just awful. Fast forward about 6 months into IV antibiotics, I would say almost all of my symptoms were beginning to subside. And by 11 months of IV antibiotics, I would say that I was probably 80% better. I opted to remove my PICC line because my daughter was getting married. It was a destination wedding, and I wanted to have my life back and have some fun and swim in the ocean and be with my family. And I thought to myself, well, if I go back into, come out of remission, which I felt like I was almost there, I'll just go back and get the PICC line placed again. And as I got home, little by little, the symptoms started creeping back, and it probably went for about 4 months. And I just realized I didn't want to do the IV route anymore. I didn't want the antibiotics. I had done enough of it. And although I handled them well, I didn't have a lot of gut issues. I just dreaded the thought of being hooked up to an IV pole, all day long, every day for another 3, 6, 9 months. So while I was away, I started thinking about Neomed. Neomed, I had found on a Facebook group. There were a few different girls that I had seen that had come here that I'd been following for 2 to 3 years who had made great progress. And I checked in on them. I'd private message them and say, hey, are you still making gains? How are things going? And 2 of them ended up coming back. And in my mind, I thought, why would someone have to go back if they spent all this money, went to another country, got all this treatment? And I don't think I really realized what happens when we come here for treatment. Most people come here for 4, 6, 8 weeks. I think that's probably the average. And if we've had this chronic illness plaguing us for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, how can we expect in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we're going to be all better? So I really looked at the treatment here very differently and thought about it differently. I decided right away. I told my family within a week of being back from the wedding, I'm going to head to Cyprus in 2 months and start treatment. And the family thought I was crazy. How could I want to go all by myself to another country and seek treatment that I really don't know a lot about? Coming to Neomed, from the first moment that you walk through the door, the positivity and the healing, the white walls and the aesthetically clean office, is amazing. The other patients that you meet from all over the globe with varying levels of illness. Some can't walk. Some have chronic fatigue and just sleep all day. Some have horrific pain that they're on narcotics for to try to, have some sort of comfort and live their lives. What I found most is the camaraderie was incredible. The support from other patients, being able to walk in to a room every day and we could look at each other and right away know that person, just by the look on their face, they're sick, something's wrong. Knowing when someone just needed a hug. And it's amazing what that validation from other people will give you. In the Lyme community, there's so many hurdles. Going to practitioners who don't believe in chronic Lyme. There are family members that don't believe in chronic Lyme, that you could possibly be this sick and feel this bad. Friends that we lose who can't understand. And a big quote within the Lyme community is, you don't get it till you get it. And here, the patients get it and the practitioners get it. Another thing I really love about the clinic, every morning, all the staff file into this room that I'm sitting in now, and they go over every patient's plans for the day. They truly have a team approach to the care here. While they're in this meeting, each practitioner gets to report on what happened the day before, and together they try to come up with today's plan or the rest of the week's plan. We all sit right outside this door as a little kitchen area, and we all file in about 9 o'clock, and they're all still in their meeting, and we sit there and wait for them to come out to get our schedules. What I love is watching them all walk out this door. To describe it, it's like a big burst of energy as they all walk out. Everyone's got a smile on their face. Everyone, beautiful voices, good morning, and compliments to other people and checking in with people. How are you feeling? You just get this sincere sense that the staff here really cares about the patients. I really feel like the approach here is a patient-centered approach. And when I say that, I mean that the doctors and the other practitioners here listen to what you have to say. They listen to what your complaints are, how things are doing, how you feel, how a certain treatment is working. Upon arrival, you sit down with the dietitian and the doctor and the wellness coach, and you go through your entire history, go through all of your meds that you've been on, go through all of your lab work. They ask you a bunch of questions about how you're feeling and where you are on arrival. And then they put together a plan. You're a part of the plan every step of the way. The whole team is a part of the plan. The check-in with the patients is literally daily. Every day when you walk into each treatment room, whether it be physio, IV, the colonic room, everyone wants to know how you are, how did you do, how did the last treatment you do work, supportive care, comfort. We all came from different parts of the globe to be here. We left our families, we're feeling ill. And when you don't feel well, the hugs, the kind words. For me, my first week, I got very sick. GI-wise, I was a mess and I felt awful. And when I flew in, I had a long flight from the East Coast of the United States here. And it was probably the worst plane ride I've ever been on. I had excruciating pain in my hips. When I say swollen, my ankles were huge, my feet, my knees, my hands I couldn't bend, my face was all bloated, my abdomen was bloated. I felt awful. And when I started here, the first day was great. I did my first colonic and I felt awful. And I continued to feel awful for 3 days. every single day, they reassessed me. They had one of the doctors do an exam on me. They offered me minerals and vitamins to try to intravenously to try to give a boost to my depleted body. And just the warmth and sincerity was something I can't say I found in other places back home. The treatments, the cumulative approach to treating that they do here is like nothing I've ever seen. I see a naturopath back home who's wonderful. But here, you know, you get treatment after treatment after treatment after treatment. So in one day, you could do 4 to 6 different treatments. Every day, it's like that. And you go to a clinic, and some of my family would say, "Why are you so tired when you get home? Your body's working. You know, you're poked and prodded, and for all the good reasons. And, you know, by the end of the day, I get home and I can barely cook something for myself and I want to go to bed." And that really is true for most of the patients that are here. We're working really hard while we're here. The staff, the physio, you have Mariana and Luca, and I can't say enough about them. Wonderful, strong, smart, really, truly understand you as a person. They are experts at their craft. The things those 2 girls do and figure out in their assessments with us, and the things that they offer us that are just the right treatments. It's like a magician pulling things out of a hat. They're amazing. You go into the IV room for your ozone, IV ozone, and other IV supplements. And you have Lisa Panikos and Dr. Olga. I have really poor venous access, so it's really difficult back home to stick me and get a vein. And I'm really happy to say that after 6 weeks here and more than probably 35 IVs that have been started, I have only been stuck once. It has never taken multiple tries, and that in itself is amazing. And most of the people that come here do have bad veins. You know, they've been sick a long time, they've been poked a lot, they're dehydrated, and they get here and they think, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I hate needles." When you walk into that IV room, they're unbelievable. Then you head off into the colonic room where you have Vicky, who is just amazing. You know, going into a colonic is kind of embarrassing. A lot of people have never had a colonic or an enema or anything like that, and you kind of dread going in and doing it. And she makes everyone feel at ease. She's got this super calm, soothing way about her. Her touch is so soft and so gentle, and she just makes everything feel good and wonderful. I can't say enough. Then you have Susanna, who's the director here, who honestly, I feel like she brings in so much energy when she walks into a room. Positivity, kindness, going out of her way to make sure each patient is well taken care of and comfortable. You have Dina, who is the wellness coach, who is brilliant. I don't think I've ever met someone as smart as she is. Looks at you, does her physical assessment, goes through everything, and you just watch her on paper, putting all the pieces together and tying it all in and telling you what your problem area is and what you need to work on. And she's 100% right. One of the things that I came in with was I had a lot of adrenal fatigue and really chronic fatigue. I had gained a ton of weight over the last few years, a lot of bloating from holding on to so much fluid. And one of the things she talked about was my liver, and she felt my liver was very congested. And she had recommended a liver flush. And doing the liver flush, you know, it's multiple days of eating certain things and taking certain things. And at the end, the goal is to release gallstones and liver stones. And, for me, I said, wow, it's got to be full of stones, because I did 3 years of antibiotics and all kinds of other medications, and everything goes through our livers. So I said, I've got to have super, super congested liver. And the day of the final flush, I passed so many stones, and what I call gravel, little chunks of stones that were there, an enormous amount. And to some people that might sound really gross, but it's so gratifying when you're here and you're here for treatment and you can physically see the progress you're making. So to see that happen was unbelievable. And the 3 days following it, less sluggishness, so much more energy. I felt so good. Then there's Tina, who is the nutritionist here, another amazing person, sits down with you, goes through your current diet, looks at your weight, looks at your BMI. She puts together a diet plan for each person that's customized for each person. You keep a diary of your food while you're here, and she checks in with you to see how you're doing. I've done phenomenal. I've lost 17 or 18 pounds since I've been here, and that's in 6 weeks. So again, very gratifying. In terms of my worst symptoms, when I arrived with brain fog, memory issues, neck pain, low back pain, excruciating hip pain, especially at night, knee pain, inflammation in my whole body, and major issues with elimination. And I have to say, my last day is 2 days from now. It's on Friday. And I feel so much better, so much more energy. My pain is minimal. Elimination-wise, I'm completely fixed. As far as my diet, I've been given the tools and the knowledge to go home and take care of myself and to take care of my family. The one thing they have stated to us is one of the most important things for all of us to remember when we leave here. If we're going to focus on one thing, the most important thing to focus on is diet, eating clean, and taking care of what we put in our bodies. I have at home a 25-year-old daughter who also has chronic Lyme, who is very, very sick, bedridden on any given week, chronic, horrific pain. She's lost her condyles in her bilateral TMJs. She is riddled with so many, I call it the fallout of Lyme, from POTS to mast cell activation, to adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalances, you name it, she has it. And one of my goals in coming here was to see if it would be a place that I could bring her, to have her regain her health. She's been suffering in pain for 12 years. We took her to more than 36 doctors around the country, and I like it so much here that I've decided she's coming here. So in January or February, we're coming back and she will begin treatment here as well. I've talked to so many other moms that are here with their children. The gains that these children have made here are amazing. I've also talked to moms that came here with their children and have come back multiple times because their kids were so sick that they couldn't get everything on the first visit, so they came back a second and even a third. And each time, the kids are getting better and better and better. Going back to sports, going back to school, hanging out with their friends, and just living a normal life again, being kids. I was surprised how many children were here when we got here. It made me so sad, and but so incredibly happy at the end to see them all leave and be doing so well. The women here that I've met, I think will be lifelong friends. We've all had so much in common and gone through this journey together, and it isn't easy. I think the support, the love, the friendship, both from the staff as well as the patients and the patients' family members that come with them as well. Leaving here this week, the time, I have to tell you, I was here for 6 weeks and it flew by. I miss my family so much, and FaceTime was the greatest invention ever, and being able to go home from here and see my kids and see their faces and talk to my husband and all my friends and family was amazing, and it kept me grounded, and it gave me strength to keep going. The time itself flew by. The staff, I almost feel like they're part of the family. For the future, I didn't come here thinking this was a cure. I knew that my goals were to try to rebuild my body, reset my body, start healing my gut, and hopefully reignite my immune system and get it going again. I feel great leaving. They say, it's going to take a few months at home. We may slip down a little bit when we head back after our long flights and jet lag and just being home. So it's expected that, we could feel a little off for a couple weeks. But from both the staff here as well as the returning patients, every single one of them have said, you continue to get better month after month after month. And it was so nice to hear from the patients who actually were the ones that had to live it and go home, and to really be able to trust what they're saying was true. They said all of a sudden one day, they just realized, oh my God, I can bend over and pick that up off the floor, and I couldn't do that before. They're so subtle, the gains, you don't even realize you're doing it. So I'm really excited to experience those myself. I'm excited to keep in touch with the other patients that have left and to follow their progress. And I'm most excited to bring my daughter here with great hope that Neomed will change her life as much as it's changed other people's lives.